The religious way is, okay, if I just follow this rule, I'm going to get this result. That's what religion is. And I've talked about my favorite religious person is Michael Jordan or Kobe. You know, these people who put in this incredible work ethic so that they can be the best at a specific thing. And that's religion. A dance, though, and I love it. This is hilarious because Michael Jordan's newest special was The Last Dance. And it is a dance that we're going after in our relationship with God. It's this movement of, as God moves, there's a move that we do. When I move, you move. Just like that. Oh, Lord. Shout out to Ludacris.
Right.
And so we got to remember that this life is not just about having religion. Yes, there are disciplines that are helpful to us. Yes, there are things that we have to do. And, you know, you need to have a job so you can make money. You need to take care of your family. All these things that are important. But don't forget that as we relate to God, there is a dance going on. And we can get into the unforced rhythms of grace. And when we do that, life gets so much better. We're not trying to force things to happen that we don't have any control over. It's a beautiful place to be. And so I think verses 9 through 11 of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 stand out for me. God didn't set us up for an angry rejection, but for salvation by our Master Jesus Christ. So often we, as a society, think of God as this angry being who wants to smash us, who wants to crush us like little bugs, or, you know, fry us like the angry kid, the little kid with the magnifying glass frying an ant. And we don't think of God as the one who loves us, who wants to be in this dance with us, who cares about us. And when we can shift our brain to God loves us, He wants to save us, He wants to have relationship with us, He wants us to have the best life we can possibly have, which doesn't mean we're not going to have suffering and pain, but it means we'll never be alone. We'll never go through the suffering and pain by ourselves. There can be a good outcome that God is bringing about when we don't try to force our own way onto what's happening. It makes life so much better. And my problem, and I don't know about anybody else, is that I have great moments where I'm connected with God, and I have terrible moments where I'm just trying to get my own way. And like I was saying before, and this will be 2 different videos on YouTube, but you were talking about listening, and I kind of brought up who we listen to. And when we're around people who are wise, who are following God, who love us, they will challenge us with the truth in a loving way. And the best times of my life are when I'm with those people and listening to them. But sometimes I feel like I don't deserve to have that kind of love and wisdom given to me. And so I go out and I spend time with people who are going to use me as a tool to get their own way. Or I go out and I spend time with people who are going to just step on me like I'm dirt and treat me like I'm nothing, because I feel bad about myself and I want other people to treat me badly so that I can believe that I deserve to be treated badly, because I'm not thinking of myself as God's holy and dearly loved child. I'm thinking of myself as someone who God's angry with, or someone who deserves to be punished. You have anything you want to add to any of that? No? All right. Well, there's definitely more in here. 1 Thessalonians 5 wraps up the whole chapter, and it's so good. I think the other part that stands out to me is near the end. It's probably verse 27. We'll start at 25. Friends, keep up your prayers for us. Keep praying. It is valuable. It does help. All these people who make fun of thoughts and prayers, I get it. It doesn't feel like you're doing anything. And we're human beings. We want to feel like we're doing something, like we actually have control. And when we send up our prayers, we're actually surrendering control. Who wants to do that? Not me, most of the time. But once again, when I surrender control, life gets better. Continuing the verse, greet all the followers of Jesus there with a holy embrace, and make sure this letter gets read to all the brothers and sisters. Don't leave anyone out. The amazing grace of Jesus Christ be with you. And that's how Paul wraps up this letter, and I love it. I love it because it reminds us to read all the different letters that Paul has sent out, because we need to hear them. Why do we need to hear them? I mean, it would be so much easier for us to find that one letter that's written to people who are like us, and then we can just get in our little echo chamber and hear what we want to hear over and over again. And Paul says, don't do that. Don't get caught in your echo chamber. Make sure that the algorithm on all these social media things doesn't get you caught up so that you're stuck with only like-minded people, because that's going to ruin you. Make sure you're listening to the letters that are going to people who disagree with you, who think totally different than you, who see the world totally different than you, who prefer to see the world in a totally different way than you. Remember that there are people out there who their primary goal and desire in life is possibly the absolute opposite of yours. I keep talking about, people who want to you talked about it earlier, people who want to empathize with people to the point where all they do is try to be loving, by which we mean empathetic, with no telling the truth, no disagreeing with anyone, no making anyone feel uncomfortable in any way at all.
No rock in the boat.
No rock in the boat. And then there's people on the extreme other end who just want to give people truth with no empathy at all. And it's a battle axe, and they just crush you with this truth, and there's no consideration of who you are as a person. And so what you brought up earlier was the verse that Paul says, meet every individual where they're at. Ooh, that's rough.
That takes energy.
It takes a lot of energy. Yeah. And sometimes we don't have it. And sometimes we need to remember that we are one of those individuals. Mm-hmm. We need to meet ourselves with that empathy and that kindness and that wisdom. We need to meet ourselves with truth and kindness. And how often do we do that? How often do we take the time to check in with ourselves to see, am I being truthful with myself? Because I like to tell myself a lot of stories that have nothing to do with the truth. The truth being, I am God's holy and dearly loved child who he is pleased with. I want to tell myself, no, I am fill in the blank. I am just my mother's son. I am just my father's son. I am just all of the bad things that my family has ever done. I am just all the bad things I've ever done. I am just an athlete. I am just a soldier. I am just a disabled veteran. I am just whatever my job title is. We put those things in the way, and once we do, we're justified in feeling certain ways. And so once again, dying to ourselves is remembering to tell ourselves the truth. Meet ourselves as an individual who needs love and care and truth and wisdom. And so we read all of these different books of the Bible so that we can understand there are people who see the world differently than we do. Their primary goal is different than ours. Their needs are different than ours. The amount of empathy they need or the amount of truth they need is different than ours. I love it because Thessalonians starts with Paul's the cheerleader. Hey, I'm so proud of you. You're doing such a good job. Keep it up. That's what Paul's saying. And how often do we meet people as their cheerleader? There to encourage them, there to remind them that they're doing a good job. And then we go to some of the other letters that we've already read. We go to Ephesians and we meet the people who are all about hierarchy. They're all about, this is the person who's in authority. They have responsibility. It's their job to look out for things. And since we're under them, we're just supposed And Paul deals with them too. And there's some truth that he brings them away from this whole idea that all that matters is this authoritarian hierarchy. And then we get into Colossians, where Paul's talking to our STEM people, the science guy, the tech guy, the people who want the newest technology, the people who want to be on the cutting edge of whatever's happening in technology. And he reminds them, hey, there's also faith. All this tech is wonderful. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. In fact, we're here with you right now because of technology. It's amazing and it's wonderful. But it's not the end of everything. Relationships with people are still important. Relationship with God is still important. And faith that even when you can't figure out the solution, God is still going to take care of things. Whew, that's a rough one for me. I like figuring things out. Colossians hits me hard. But then I read these other ones. There's Philippians in there as well that we read, and for some reason my mind is totally blank on what Philippians is. Maybe because it's for the people who are exactly the opposite of me. And so I don't want to think about what Philippians is. But when we read all of them, we're reminded there are people who are thinking differently than we are. They're interacting with the world differently than we are. They're maybe not even aware of some of the things that we think are the most important things that exist. And loving people and caring about people as individuals includes reading all those other letters so we can remember, hey, I might meet someone today who looks at the world the exact opposite way from me. Mm-hmm. And I have to remember that that person is still God's holy and dearly loved child who he is pleased with. If I'm on the far right politically and someone I meet is on the far left politically, we can disagree about politics. That's okay. It's okay to disagree with people. Jesus disagreed with people. But we also still need to love that individual person. And so maybe there's my Thanksgiving message for all of you. Let's not bring up politics this Thanksgiving. Let's not run to all the things that divide us. Let's run to we love each other because we see each other, each individual person, as God's holy and dearly loved child, who he is pleased with, even when he cannot approve of the things that individual person is doing. And so, yes, on this Thanksgiving, you might need to send your crazy aunt or your funny uncle into a room by themselves so that they can, because they've got to say whatever they need to say, no matter who is in their way. But let's all, enjoy some good food, some good time with family, some good end of time with family where we leave because we're getting ready to be the crazy one who has to say what we need to say. And let's enjoy a wonderful time. Yes, my love.
You bring up that thought that, some days when we're short on patience, it's easy to run to the things that divide us. Mm-hmm. It's easy to use labels for people that divide us. Mm-hmm. And so often we don't even understand what those labels mean. We've just heard them, so we repeat them. Mm. And imagine a world if we ran to the things that unite us rather than the things that divide us. Like, wow, that's a crazy thought. I think right now in our social climate, we are running, generally, we're running to things that divide us. And
we are, or it feels that way?
It feels that way. Because the truth is, one thing that we've learned in our travels is that we look on social media and the world looks a particular way. It looks very divided. It looks very hostile. It looks, you might think like we're on the brink of, war here in the U.S., but you get out into the world and you meet people and you talk to people and it just doesn't feel that way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. People are kind and loving and, the first thing out of their mouth is not a political divide at all. They're just living their lives, enjoying what they can. Mm-hmm. And
we get face to face and we actually have a certain amount of care for each other.
Exactly.
And we recognize that it is another human being that we're interacting with, not just a computer screen so we can say whatever we want.
Exactly. In fact, in our travels, we left, September 15th?
Something like that, yep.
In all the cities we've been in and all the places we've gone and all the people we've talked to, and trust me, I like to talk to people as we're moving along, I think only one person has brought up anything political, and he just laughed about it. Nice. And he still was so kind and just talked my ear off, and it was the man at the Bass Pro Shop.
Nice.
Just such a sweet man. And remember that occasionally we need to get off our screen and just talk to actual people and not be afraid of people out there. That's my 2 cents on that.
Excellent. That was good stuff. Well, hey, we're gonna leave you a little early. I saw something on the chat, and then I saw who sent it. That's good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right. Have a great Thanksgiving. If you're seeing this on YouTube on a different day, we hope you know you are God's holy and dearly loved child, and He is pleased with you, even when He cannot approve of the things that you're doing. You are loved. You're not alone. We love you. We hope that you will continue to meet with us, and in order to do that,
follow and subscribe on Twitch to chat with us.
Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts from.
Thanks for joining us on this adventure.
Much love, TullyAdventurers. Explore.